welcome. Welcome back to The Deep Dive. It's great to have you with us. Today, we're really diving into some fundamental questions, aren't we? Life, death, human potential, and what might come after.
You are indeed. And our guide for this exploration is specific excerpts from the book Parapsychology by Hazrat Khwaja Shams-ud-Din Azami. It's a work that really tries to bridge, the seen and the unseen, the material and the spiritual aspects of existence.
Right. And our mission really is to unpack some key insights from these passages. We want to explore this particular perspective on how our actions, our inner state, how it all connects to the afterlife. It's a fascinating lens. So where does the source suggest we begin this exploration?
Well, it starts with a really central analogy. The material world, this life we're living now, it's presented as a kind of field.
A field? Like an agricultural field?
Exactly like that, yes. But instead of planting crops for food, we're planting the seeds for what comes after this life. And the message is, it's quite direct. If you plant thorns in this field, actions driven by negativity, by those satanic whispers or negative influences the source mentions, then your destiny, your reality in the afterlife, and simply the harvest of those thorns.
Yeah.
You'll be picking them, breaking them, consuming them. It's a very vivid image of facing the consequences.
Wow, that's powerful imagery. So the flip side must be true too, planting positive things.
Absolutely. If you cultivate positive plants or flowers, good actions, positive intentions, spiritual development, the result is beautiful gardens after death. And it's presented not just symbolically. The source mentions a hadith, a saying from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the practices of the Awliya Allah, the friends of Allah. This positive cultivation literally results in evergreen trees, flowering plants, beautiful gardens. These become your actual assets, your environment in the afterlife.
So the afterlife isn't some arbitrary reward or punishment. It's the direct result of what we grew here.
Exactly. It's like spiritual farming. As Hazrat Khwaja Shams-ud-Din Azami lays out in Parapsychology, what you do here determines your reality there. Reward or torment, it stems directly from your life's cultivation.
It really frames accountability in a different way, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
And this idea connects directly to that profound saying, die before you die. The source talks about that too, right?
Yes, it does. And it clarifies, it's not about literal death. It means while we're still here, living with these physical senses that arose from the earth, we need to achieve a deep understanding now.
An understanding of what specifically?
Of the fact that our state after death depends entirely on our own will, our own actions, right here, right now.
So it's like gaining spiritual awareness before physical death. Understanding the consequences while we can still act?
Precisely. Recognizing the weight of our choices while we still have the agency to choose. It's about inner preparation. And this isn't an isolated idea. The source points out how the Quran itself repeatedly calls for this kind of reflection and observation.
Ah, right. Those specific calls to awareness.
Yeah.
What are some examples mentioned?
Well, there are calls like Insān, reflect deeply, ponder, use your mind.
Okay.
And engage your intellect and consciousness fully. It's an active process, not just passive belief.
So really thinking it through, not just accepting it?
Exactly. And also looking outward. You said the Kawan radiance. You sorry hanching traders below the debris the engine jagia. And it's that use of the check engine trader say, who are you? Cheersha for one low into Klim. She receives in Marita Lach and Kurikura flank house. See the patterns adding.
And inward too.
Definitely. Shiuyan Shufsor, so the Tenjat said, take one to the experience of bad. And Yan. It's as if should as a king see experience how to keep you end. Think about, Ejiyatsutu Shoy, you were like, if he gets it, and Yan, ponder your own creation, how you came into being.
Yeah.
And think about, singing some of best religious about how Allah nurtured you, brought you up safely.
From complete dependence to capability.
Yes, consider. Is Seder a stage of youth arriving with all its energy? And acknowledge, anyone womb con the strength Allah gave you.
The strength to act in the world.
That's it. Kail says cause power to move with intention, with free will. And using that power, Chag Hang He call power to move with intention, with free will. And using that power, Hiko Kofei, you found resources from the earth, agriculture, building, discovering.
Even seemingly simpler things like folks sailing ships on rivers, all stemming from that initial gift of strength and choice.
And this journey, from helplessness to having all this ability, leads to the next point the Source makes, contrasting our beginning with our potential.
You mean the description of us at birth as or an insignificant thing?
Exactly that. The Source describes a newborn as just ilanye, a lump of flesh, unable to move intentionally, turn over, sit up, can't even swat a fly, utterly dependent.
It really is humbling when you think about it that way.
But then, Allah grants this seemingly insignificant being immense capability, hidden potential. And from that potential, from that lump of flesh, eventually arise all the products, the inventions, the whole structure of civilization. It highlights this incredible, almost divine potential within us.
And this is where the scientific example comes in, the electricity one.
Yes, exactly. It uses our search for electricity as an analogy. All that effort, that curiosity, leading to the discovery of electricity itself, which the Source presents as one of Allah's fundamental creations.
Right. And what did we do with that discovery?
Well, we transformed the world, didn't we? From that one primary creation, electricity, humans derived. Well, countless secondary creations.
Lights, computers, phones, everything.
Everything. And the Source connects this to that Quranic verse. Siyashit Apa Syria, often translated as the best of creators. Surah Al-Mu'minun, verse 14.
How does that verse fit with the electricity example according to the Source?
The interpretation offered is that Allah is the primary creator of the fundamental forces like electricity. Humans, then, are creators in a secondary sense. We take those primary creations, and through our focus, our ingenuity, we create new things from them. Radio, TV, wireless. All human creations built upon electricity. The key point is, the power within electricity was hidden until we focused, we searched, we reflected. Then its potentials were revealed, becoming new creations.
So human creativity is like unlocking the potential already embedded in divine creation. Which brings us back to reflection, doesn't it? But applying it inwardly this time.
Exactly. This leads directly to the really crucial part. ATC, APIC, UPS reflection and opening the inner eye.
Okay, the inner eye. Let's get into this. How does reflecting on matter relate to this inner capacity?
Well, the Source explains that by reflecting on matter, we learn to harness its power. That's science, technology, using material power for benefit or harm.
Right. That's the external reflection.
Yes, but the Source suggests there's a deeper potential behind all that material power.
Which is?
It's identified as the soul. The abilities we see in matter, like electricity's power, are described as just a faint reflection of the soul's true potential. The real power source is within.
And this connects back again to the sowing and reaping idea.
It does, strongly. It reiterates. What you sow, you reap. What you sow, you reap.
Your earnings, your life's actions and inner states determine your reward. Your choices tap into these potentials.
So the logic follows. If reflecting outward on the physical world unlocks something as powerful as electricity, then the Source argues reflecting inward can unlock something even more profound. The ACA, the inner eye within yourself.
The inner eye? That sounds like a different way of seeing altogether. What can it actually perceive?
It's described as seeing beyond time and space limitations. It removes the veils, normally block our perception of non-physical realities.
Wow, that's hard to grasp. What kind of things become visible then?
According to the Source, spiritual masters, the Awliya Allah, can observe in inner spiritual states, transformations within the soul. And if opened further, it enables Kash al-Kubur.
What's Kash al-Kubur?
The ability, as explained in the Source, to communicate with the spirits of the deceased. Not like seeing ghosts, but perceiving and interacting with their spiritual reality as if speaking to them.
So directly perceiving the state of spirits after death.
That's the idea. And it goes further. With more power, this inner eye can perceive angels. Stay gained.
And the ultimate state mentioned for the highest friends of Allah is seeing Allah on the Arsh. A direct witnessing of the divine reality.
These are incredible states of awareness. What's the very first thing this inner eye perceives when it opens?
The Source says it's Sheen, or the realm of Araf, the immediate life after death. the world you enter when the physical connection is severed.
So if someone cultivates this inner sight during life,
For them, entering paradise becomes a normal, expected transition.
it says it dawn outside. They've already glimpsed that reality, so it's familiar.
And if someone doesn't open this inner eye in life,
Then, according to this perspective from Hazrat Khwaja Shams-ud-Din Azimi, a state of wudnya deprivation is imposed. Their vision stays limited after death. Like being unable to see past a wall in this world, their spiritual sight is similarly blocked, confined to the reality they built for themselves.
which leads to the vital question, how do you open it? How do you remove the blockage, the wujinya web, the web, and soar, as the source puts it?
The answer given points towards a specific path. Through lessons and practices developed by the Awliya Allah, seen as inheritors of the Prophet Muhammad's, peace be upon him, spiritual methods.
Okay, and what are those methods based on?
The source states they are founded on the Prophet's first Sunnah, his practice of reflection or meditation, wujinya, specifically the kind he practiced in the cave of Hira. So it emphasizes a practical path, rooted in foundational spiritual exercises.
Okay, so let's try and summarize. This world is our field. Our actions are seeds for the next life. We're urged by the Quran to reflect, understand ourselves and the universe, recognize our potential. Just like reflecting on matter unlocked electricity, reflecting inward, using practices like muraqabah from the prophetic tradition, can potentially unlock this inner eye. An inner eye that perceives spiritual realities, the afterlife, and fundamentally changes our connection to everything, both now and after death. That seems to be the core message from these excerpts of parapsychology.
That's a great summary. It paints a picture where the inner journey is the most crucial one, where discovering our own spiritual potential is key to understanding reality and shaping our eternal destiny. It directly links this life to the next through our conscious actions and inner development.
It really makes you pause and think. If reflecting on the outer world gave us electricity and all its consequences, what incredible, maybe unimaginable potentials are waiting within our inner world? What might we discover if we truly applied that power of reflection inward, following the path suggested by these teachings from Hazrat Khwaja Shams-ud-Din Azimi? Something to consider.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. It's been incredibly insightful.
Thank you. It's always fascinating to explore these profound ideas together.